3 of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Ethan Cummings. This is your co-host, Sam Collier, special guest, new Lady Cavaliers head coach, Paul Whitaker. Sorry for the delay on the start time. We've had technical difficulties, but I promise you, fourth time is the charm here in Coach's Corner, and next week we will try to be on time, okay? May not work, no promises, but we're going to try. We're going to try our best. Just want to start this episode off with a pick'em recap. You know, we've every week at the end of the show, me and my co-host Sam Collier here, we go over the games. We've been doing football games, basketball games are to come, and we picked the winners of those games. Last week we had a lot of the same picks. He's a cheater. He cheats. He just tries to copy me so he can have a better record.
I pick first.
But we're going to run down this list very quick. Shelby Valley at Floyd Central. Valley takes it 70-36. Thoughts on that game?
Man, Valley has just looked really good these past 4 games. They're scoring very high right now. I knew it was going to happen.
Thoughts on that game?
I think we all saw that coming.
Yep.
I watched the show last week, and I completely agreed with Sam.
I'm glad you agreed with Sam.
I did.
Next, we got Jenkins at Phelps. Phelps took it 44, but the Cavaliers put 20 on the board. Any surprise there?
Listen, I think that's the most points that they have scored as a ball team in the past 7 years. So, I mean, I think that's a really good look on them, and I hope to see them come out next season and actually get a win on the year.
I know the Cavs right before halftime, they were threatening. I think it was 20-6. They were at the end zone, pass in. Just unfortunately, they couldn't come down with it. I think they go in with that touchdown. Completely different game.
Yeah.
Pikeville at Boyd. Pikeville takes it 39-14. Any surprise there?
No surprise to me at all. They're coming into playoffs this week. I knew Pikeville was going to be ready and prepared for Boyd County, so no surprise.
Any surprise there?
It's Pikeville.
That's what I say. It's Pikeville.
Pikeville.
I say it every week. Pikeville Panthers.
Pikeville.
That's all we got to say is it's Pikeville.
It's Pikeville.
P-ville, baby.
P-ville.
Next, we've got real quick. We'll run through these quick, so short responses. Williamson at Perry. Perry takes it 48-20. Any surprise there?
Coach Kyle Maggard said last week that they needed to get this win to get that number 2 spot, and they done it. So I seen it coming.
They got in there and took care of business.
Took care of business. I like it. Kaiser Sloan, we're watching you. I always talk good about you, and especially the coaching staff down in Perry County.
Great
Mark Dixon,
quarterback.
Chuck Fugit. Great coaches. Going to be Hall of Fame coaches one day. Breathitt County at Prestonsburg. This is one of the games that me and you picked separate. I'm not betting against the Bobcats. Austin Sperry's mom, I hope you're watching. And you did bet against the Bobcats, so
I
clip
did.
him.
Hey, listen.
Breathitt takes it 42-7. Are you shocked by that score?
I am shocked by that score. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Prestonsburg was going to put up a bigger fight than that, especially on their home field. But we're going into the playoffs, so whoever wants it more.
We are. They're all ramping up here at the end of the season, and no shock here.
Yeah, man, the Breathitt County Bobcats, they're just always tough at football. Like Mike Holcomb started that tradition a long time ago, and so they've always been very competitive. No shock for me here. LCA at Raceland. LCA takes it 48-21. Paintsville at Pike Central. Paintsville takes it 22-14. And then the one we're going to talk about too is Belfry at Letcher Central, 43-14. Any shock that the Cougs didn't compete a little better in this game?
I don't think that there is a shock, only for the sole fact that Belfry is a team that is looking for a state title every season. They're coming into that final game. They're going to go on the road, and they're going to get the job done regardless of who they would have played that week.
I'm surprised at all the penalties. I think that first half it was penalty ridden. I think they do a little better on that. They're a lot closer than what it was.
I think that I'm gonna say 2 words: Philip Haywood, man.
Yep.
I ain't betting against him. Never will. I never will. He's like Breathitt County. I won't bet against him, right?
Yep.
Real quick before we move on, Sam's record is now 12-3. My record is 9-6. We're keeping up with these records because I promise you, by the end of this show, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to have the better record when this season of this show ends.
You're running
Just
out
like
of
Louisville.
time. He's running out of time.
Just like
We're
Louisville.
not going to break. We're going to stay on. Go ahead and stay on for the hot takes. We're going to go ahead and go through those. Guys, we've got Kentucky, who just took a loss to Tennessee yesterday. They're 5-3 on the season, and hosting Mississippi State, who's been mediocre this year,
Right.
4-4. Who you got on the game, and why quickly?
Well, I'm gonna have to take Kentucky with this one after 3 consecutive losses, 3 good teams. We finally got to see the QB play we wanted to see out of Devin Leary yesterday. We competed with that Tennessee team, and we only held it to a 6-point game at the end of the game. Had we not have kicked the field goal instead of tried to score off of 4th and 2, I feel like it would have been different, but let's not worry about that right now. Hopefully they can utilize Ray Davis in this game more because we passed the ball a lot last night. Ray Davis needs touches. I will continue to say that. He scored every single game. He needs touches. So I'm going to take them over Mississippi State this week. They're not a very good team. Kentucky's going to come in and they're going to get the job done.
Cats all the way, baby. Davis, you're right. Davis has got to have more touches. He's carried the Cats a lot this year.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people overlook with the quarterback, though, is he's thrown good passes this year.
We've had a
and
lot of drops.
The receivers just haven't caught the ball.
You're right.
I think, both sides of that have to get a little better for him to be truly successful with the passing game going forward.
Yeah, on this show, this is the one special time that you Kentucky fans at home are going to get to see me pick Kentucky because you're playing a team that's awful. You're playing a team that's awful. That's the only reason I'm picking them. I try to be as real as I can on this show. Okay, I try to keep my credit. I got sources. We've got sources. Kentucky, I'm taking them. I hope they win this game, right? I hope they do because looking at the rest of their schedule, they're not going to win another one after this.
Oh, come on.
Listen, they're playing Alabama at home. You're not beating Nick Saban. I'm sorry with the performance that you've had this year and losing to Tennessee, losing to Georgia the way you did. I don't think they beat Bama at home. You go to South Carolina. South Carolina's a tough place to play. South Carolina's mediocre this season. But I think, they're one of those opponents that they're mediocre, and if you overlook them a tad bit, they're going to be in the game. And once you let a team like that in the game, they beat them. And then, you go to Louisville. Let's be honest here. Louisville is one of the hardest places to play in the country
Hell's
right now.
down.
They are. And so I'm taking, I just don't see Kentucky winning another game the rest of the season. That's why I'm taking them. Moving on to topic 2, we've got number 18, the only team ranked in the top 25 in the state of Kentucky, the University of Louisville Cardinals, 7-1 on the season, playing at home against a Virginia Tech team, 4-4. Who you got? Why?
Listen, I'm taking Virginia Tech. I will not choose Louisville if I think that they're going to lose, and they are going to lose this game. They've got the big head. They beat these big teams. They're going to come into this game thinking they've already won it. Virginia Tech is a mediocre team, but they've got 30 sacks on the season, so that alone right there lets me know that their defense is a little bit better than people think, and they're getting overlooked. I feel like Louisville is going to struggle in this game because, like I said, they're going to have that big head. They think that they're just going to come in and shut them down. Another thing I want to bring in is their quarterback, Kyron Drones. He's been performing very well this season. He can get the ball out. He can take off out of the pocket. He can get you a good, nice little 30-yard run out of the pocket. So, yeah, give me Virginia Tech over Louisville this week.
Louisville, all the way. They may have the big head, but they put in the work to deserve it. They've won some big games this year.
They have.
And I think, Virginia Tech coming up isn't one of their big games. I think that they easily 2 to 3 touchdown win over Virginia Tech.
I think, I'm going to take Louisville, and I'm going to give you some reasons why very quickly. I'm going to take Louisville. For one, yesterday they shut out another top 20 team, a top 25 team in the nation in the Duke Blue Devils, who's been very competitive with a competitive schedule this season. They shut them out 23-0. Jawar Jordan, did I say that right?
Jawar Jordan. Yep.
Just make sure I said that right. If not, he gives me a hard time. That's why I say that. Jawar Jordan, he not only returns, he didn't play against Pitt.
before the bye week, he didn't play. He was hurt, had a hamstring injury, but he returns, and he not only returns, but he dominates.
I said that was going to happen.
He dominates. He had 21 carries for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. And not only did he dominate, but Jack Plummer, our quarterback, was also very efficient moving the ball. And by him moving the ball the way he did, it allowed JJ to have more the yards in the game that he did. Jack Plummer went 11 for 16, throwing for 117 yards with no turnovers. Now, he didn't have a touchdown, but he also didn't have any turnovers. So Virginia Tech, they've looked competitive in conference play, but if you look at their schedule, every game this season that they've played on the road, they've lost. They're 0-3 on the road. And like I said when we were talking about the Kentucky game earlier, Louisville is one of the hardest places to play in the country right now. They're selling out the arena every weekend. They just are. And if you don't believe me, go ask Notre Dame or Duke. They'll tell you, right? Because they've struggled there.
Listen, the thing I want to take from that, man, Ray Davis gets 21 carries. He's having a game like that.
I don't know. I watched that game the other night, and he was getting like 2 to 3 yards a carry. But anyways, so I'm taking Louisville. The odd guy's taking Virginia Tech. I wish we were keeping record on these college games.
I'd be winning that too.
Moving on very quickly. This is one topic we wanted to talk about last week and we didn't get to. We get to talk a little bit about NFL here. We like talking a little bit of pro to keep you guys updated. But in your opinion, who has been the best NFL coaching hire in the last 5 seasons?
I'm going to have to go with my guy, Dan Campbell. I feel like he's turned this Detroit Lions team around tremendously. He's not got the win-loss record to really prove that, but if you just look at this team 3 years ago and look at it now, I mean, they have improved so much. You send out Matthew Stafford, you send him to the Rams. Okay, you clean the house out. You're getting rid of all these players. You add Amon-Ra St. Brown in last year's draft. I mean, you got Jared Goff, a Super Bowl quarterback. Bring him in. I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback. People have underrated him, I feel like. Dan Campbell just got 20-plus years experience from playing to coaching. He was assistant head coach for the Saints under Sean Payton. He got to learn from that legendary coach. Dan Campbell, man, he's the guy. He's the guy.
I have to agree with Sam on this one. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, watching the Lions was almost painful.
Yes.
Just coming in from somebody who watches football on TV and doesn't follow the coaching changes very, very much. The Lions is a much better team for me to watch if one of my teams are playing against them. They're having a heck of a season this year, I think, too.
And, everybody, whenever you watch football on Thanksgiving, everyone knows that the Lions play every Thanksgiving. And every year, what do people say? Oh, the Lions are going to lose. The Lions ain't that good. Well, this year, I'm calling it Lions win on Thanksgiving.
A little early call.
Well, I would agree with you guys, but listen, Nick Sirianni, man, he is one of the best young offensive minds in the game at Philadelphia.
I can agree with you.
Even going back to his Colts days. I mean, you're thinking of an offensive coordinator who was doing majority of the play calling with a different quarterback every year and was still competing to try to get in the wild card for playoffs.
Right.
He literally started every season with a different quarterback. And so, it's crazy to me. And then to look at his time with the Eagles. So he's 27-11 overall, his overall record. He's 6-1 this season. And he also, he snagged his franchise quarterback, Jalen Hurts, at 53rd overall. There was 52 guys picked against Jalen Hurts, who's already been to a Super Bowl, and this is just in his second
a college
season,
championship.
and a college championship. I mean, this guy.
I mean, goodness.
But no, man. He's already made it. He's already won the NFC championship. He's already made a Super Bowl appearance.
Yep.
I really like him. I think he's, and also looking at his coaching tree. I mean, to be on his third or fourth year with the Eagles, I don't know for sure.
I think it's his third.
Is it his third? Yeah, I think it's his third. But both of his offensive coordinator and defense coordinator from last year both got jobs. That is crazy. Most of the time you pick guys off of veteran coaches that's done it for a while. You pick those guys off those staff. And for him to be able to accomplish that, seeing guys be head coaches, that's great. Yeah, so moving on, that's our takes with Dan Campbell, Nick Sirianni. Moving on, last hot take. What has your top 5 NFL teams changed any?
Well, I didn't get to watch today. We had to have our basketball practice earlier. We've had to prepare for this show, so this is going to be off of last week's standings for me. I got Jaguars at 5. I've got the 49ers at the 4 spot, considering that they lost those 2 games in a row. I still think that they're a good team. They just had some mishaps, and they've had a few players out, which is still not an excuse, but I have 49ers at the 4th spot. I've got the Dolphins at 3. You know, their offense is just very explosive. We're going to continue to see that throughout the season. They're going to stay in my top 5. The Eagles, I've got the Eagles at number 2, you know, talking about Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. They're the best team in the NFC by far, other than the 49ers. You know, them's the 2 top teams. Them's the top dogs. And right now I've got them ahead of the 49ers right now with the way that they've been playing. And then I've got the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. They're the number 1 team right now. They're it, you know. They're Super Bowl champs last year. They've came in and they've showed why they are Super Bowl champs. So, yeah, I got the Chiefs at number 1.
I think I'm going to go with Sam again, except
Okay.
for maybe I dropped that number 5 off. I put the Bengals there, man. I have to. They may not. They're going to be there at the end of the season. They will be. They have to be. I'm a longtime fan, and I can't
You
can't
can be
have
biased.
any list you put in front of me that doesn't have have
Cincinnati
on
Bengals.
them. I'm putting Cincinnati right there.
Well, considering that they're last in their division right now, I don't think that I would have them there.
Oh, you gotta
because you've
have
got
hope.
the Steelers, you've got the Ravens, and you've got the Browns.
Oh.
But the
gotta have
Bengals had his 5 spot. What about you took the rest?
Just drop that off.
Well, here's my thing, right, is the 49ers, I called it 2 weeks ago, man. They started out the season hot. They lost 2 straight games, and one of those games they probably should have lost. The other one they shouldn't have.
Right.
So looking at it, I took them completely out of my lineup. I'm not a Niners fan. I think their conference is weak, and I think they are going to win their division. But, I mean, let's be honest. All the talent's in the AFC.
Yes,
It just
it is.
is what it is. I've got the Dolphins at 5, the Jaguars at 4, the Eagles at 3, the Ravens at 2, the Chiefs at 1. And I will tell you, my 1 and 2 hasn't changed because the Ravens I'm basing mine off last week. They dominated
Detroit Lions.
I
mean, they absolutely murdered them.
They also, then you look at the Chiefs, and man, they're just the Chiefs, right? They've
Yeah.
been my number 1 since from the start.
Right, yeah.
And so we've got a comment here. Did I miss the good stuff already? It's basketball time now. Yes. Listen, you're going to want to stick with us. We're getting ready to take a short break. When we get back, Coach Paul Whitaker is going to be put on the spotlight. He is going to have to answer these questions. And also, remember, guys, if you like this show, please like and share it. And if you're a small business and you want to sponsor us, we can put a commercial up for you. We try to keep this show going to help all the schools, coaches, and their programs. But you'll want to stay tuned. We've got Coach Paul Whitaker here. We'll be back with you in a second.
Don't let just anyone take care of your pharmaceutical needs. Call Jay's Pharmacy in Jenkins, Kentucky. Jay's Pharmacy has been a staple in the Jenkins community for many years, formerly known as Boggs Pharmacy. Jay's Pharmacy is in it for you. They'll make sure your trips to the pharmacy is easy and smooth. They'll fight the insurance companies for you and give you great prices on your medication. Call Jay's Pharmacy today in Jenkins, Kentucky. We look forward to hearing from you.
Where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
Let the folks at Double Quick help you start your 2022 off right. They've brought back the Bourbon Pecan Coffee for a limited time only. You can also quench your thirst with the great deals on fountain drinks they offer daily. Double Quick is your one-stop shop for everything. They offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can stop by one of their many storefront locations spread throughout eastern Kentucky. Stop by and let Double Quick make your day better.
This is Bruce Walters from Bruce Walters Kia. By now you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
Welcome back. We're here. We are sorry for the technical difficulties. I know you can hear us, but the video is lagging. It's the internet. We're having internet issues, so I hope you guys stick with us and at least listen to us talk. I know we're not the most intelligent people, but we try. So I hope you're watching and I hope you're listening to us, so please stay tuned, and I promise you all this will be fixed by next week, so don't count us out yet. We are back. I'm your host, Ethan Cummings, co-host Sam Collier, and very special guest, Paul Whitaker. Coach, we appreciate you being with us, but we've got to put you on the spot here. And guys, remember, if you've got a question at home, comment on the video below, and we will ask Coach your question too. But Coach, yesterday was a pretty big day for your program. You had AMW here. You did a fundraiser. Why don't you speak a little bit on that before we dive into these questions?
I did. So one of the first things that I identified when I came in coaching is we're going to need a lot of money. We're going to need a lot of money to make this program go in the direction that I'd like to take it. And my friend Kyle Maggard, he talked to me. He said, "Hey, how would you like for AMW to come up and help you do a fundraiser?" And I was like, "Absolutely, man. I love wrestling. My wife loves wrestling. My kids love wrestling." Last night, my youngest son, he's 5, he had an absolute blast. I don't think I've seen him have that much fun in the last 2 or 3 years. The kid, he was off the wall.
He was. I can vouch for
him. He got in the ring, and they did a Halloween contest. He was dancing and going crazy. It was a good time. But I really want to give a shout-out to Kyle and his whole group about how professional they are. I mean, they come in, it's not like your backyard wrestling, you know. They come in, they really set it up, and it was a really fun night, and it was really great for the community and the school as a whole, not just the Lady Cats.
Well, that's amazing. Daniel Gillespie, Mr. Lester looked pretty good for you. Ethan Cummings, keep them going, brother. Dude, I appreciate you, my man. And
yes, sir.
Listen, he's always welcome to come and work out with us at any time. You know, we love here at Jenkins, we love all kids, man. So anytime that any kid wants to come work out, we take them in. Coach, diving into your program, you're coming in to your first season with this program, and if I'm understanding right, first season as a basketball head coach. We've been on basketball staffs before, but not as a head coach. Yeah. What are some changes that you plan to make, and how do you plan to approach these changes within this program?
Well, one of the first things I really wanted to do, change-wise, is change the culture that we have on the team. I want the girls, every time they step onto the floor, to know that they're going to win that game. You know, I want them to come out of the locker room ready to go for every single minute of the game and never give up. So that winning mentality is number one on my priority to change. Another thing is the conditioning. You know, I think that some of them had fell a little short in the past on being in shape throughout the entire season. So we've changed a little bit of how we condition and how we structure practice. A lot of running this year, a lot.
You know, speaking of that, with the changes and things, you know, this is, like we said before, this is your first season with the Lady Cavaliers, right? And so one thing as a head coach, in my experience, the first thing you want to jump at is your staff.
Yep.
And you want to put people around you that'll help you succeed. So let's, talk a little bit about your staff members. What's your goals and expectations for them, and what kind of role will they play for you within this program?
Sure. So first I'll talk about Josh Collins. He was last year's assistant coach of the JV team. We kept him on to do the same this year. I think anytime you have a major coaching change, a head coach change, there's always a lot of ways involved. So that's allowed us to transition a little bit easier into it. The girls are already comfortable with him around, so it hasn't been as hard for me to maybe earn the trust that it takes a while for a completely new staff to do. I look forward to working with him this year. He's going to be right there beside me and have the JV team for the foreseeable future. Second, I brought on Brady Collier. Brady, I got to work with him last year in some AAU basketball. I haven't met anybody as passionate about being on the floor and working with youth as him. He's an X's and O's guy, and he's also a locker room guy. He can get the motivation going really quick. He's dependable. He's there every practice. He's there early. He comes in with new drills that we can do, and he's always like, "Hey, coach, I think we should try this." And he sees the things that maybe us as head coach don't see, the small things, because we're always looking at the big picture, and he has been great at fixing that. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my wife, Betty. So, I graduated from Fleming Neon High School, and one of the best coaching teams that I ever seen was Doug and Sue Kinser. They really coached well together. It was a dynamic that I enjoyed seeing on the floor with girls basketball. So when I was approached about getting the position, I was like, I've got to have Betty on staff. Now, one of the main ways that she helps me is she makes sure that all the background tasks are going to plan. And as you know, that's one of the hardest parts about coaching. Well, she does that so I can focus on what's important on the floor. It's a huge help. It's been a huge help already this year. I know it's going to be even a bigger help as we go on and season opens up on November 27th with our first home game. And the last person I want to mention, and last but not least by far, is Tex Isaac. Yep. I know, as you both know, He was named head coach back early summer. Some health issues, he had to step down. Was afraid maybe he couldn't put into it what he really felt like it deserved. Well, Tex has been there at least a couple days a week. He's been a rock that I can depend on asking questions. If I need an answer quick, I can get it right away with Tex. He's still coming in the locker room with me. He does everything that I really needed out of somebody to talk to as an advisor, and I really look forward to working with him some this year too.
That's awesome, and like you earlier mentioned about Brady, you always need a guy that has that energy and sees the things a head coach don't see. I think any head coach needs that.
Well, although there is a new coaching staff for the Lady Cavaliers, you return every player from last year's team who finished second in the 59th district.
Yeah, they did well.
What are some expectations and goals for your team this coming season?
Well, my expectations is that we win district this year. I mean, I'm returning my seniors, I'm returning the core group, and I've picked up more too. So we're going to take what they had at the end of the year last year and ramp that up another notch. I've got girls I don't have to teach the game to. We come in and we teach advanced techniques and go through plays. The first day we were able to get in here and run plays. They were ready to go. Another great thing about that is because of their success last year, they're hungry for it. They came in the door, they told me, they said, "Coach, I want to win this year. What do we have to do to win?" And we got right to it. Their work ethic is great. I can't speak more highly about the work ethic that I've had. Coming into it, I was a little bit nervous. You always are nervous. How are the players going to react to me? I'm new. They're the ones that's been here. But it's been a really good transition, and I feel like this year I expect the highest of them. I expect us at least to go to region. Hopefully we can surprise some people and go even further.
Well, that's great. So speaking of that, you move out of the 15th region. You're back in the 14th. What is your take on Jenkins moving back to the 14th region?
Well, personally, I love it. I do.
Okay.
I love it because I still have those rivalries that were instilled in me when I was back in the 14th.
Absolutely.
So going back and playing in some of the same gyms that I played in, going back and, maybe being able to beat some of the teams that we weren't able to, have that opportunity again. I'm looking forward to being in.
So
the
it
14.
feels like home, pretty much, is what you're saying.
It
You're back.
definitely
You're
feels
back.
like
You're
home.
back home.
Absolutely.
I have my own opinion about that. No, I'm just kidding. I really do. But, no. So, you mentioned earlier, you talked about returning your core group,
Yeah.
which was 5 seniors from last year's team. We know that that group has been together for a while. So talk a little bit about what kind of leadership role they will be taking on and how those seniors will affect this team this season.
Well, I'll talk to him a little bit, or talk about that a little bit in a different way to begin with, and that's the seniors as a group. I would like to talk to him about individuals too, because these girls have earned that. But as a group, this year we have a large freshman class coming in. We have some younger girls that came up from the middle school team to get some time in with practice. We got a lot of new players that haven't played on that floor before, haven't been in the light like that before. So as a group, my expectations of them and how they affect the team is building these younger players, their mentality and their physical ability in basketball, getting them ready for next year and getting them ready for the future. The program, it's got one way to go. We got to go up. And these seniors are the building blocks of that. This is ground zero. We're getting started now, and I expect all 5 of them to be the leadership for these young girls, so that they will look up to them and see, okay, I want to play like that, or I want to be like that, and they're doing a really good job so far of it. As I talk about them individually, the first person that comes to mind is Katie Firth, point guard from last year, wonderful ball player. She's took my philosophy, my coaching philosophy, and ran with it. She has been a team leader, I'm sure probably every year that she's been here, but all of the team really feed off of her ability. They feed off of what she's going through on the floor. She can motivate them to go through the doors and back with her. That's how she is. Alexis Ritchie, we couldn't do it without her. She's one of the best forward centers I've seen in girls basketball. She plays physical. I would put her up against about just anybody in the region, probably the state. Wonderful thing about her, she can come outside, she can shoot the ball, she can drive the ball. I really look forward to watching her play. She brings a new dynamic to it, and she's probably one of the best seniors I have. Third, Allie Fields. Allie is that player that you can depend on for anything. You ask her to do it, she goes and does it. Whether it's on the floor, off the floor, in the locker room, in the school, this girl, she is there. She is like the team mama. If they got a problem, they go to Allie, and then we all take care of it. And she's been wonderful that way. Another thing that Allie's doing this year that I really enjoy seeing is she's shooting the ball a lot more. Her shot has got so much better than what it was last year, and it excites me because she's going to score a lot of points. I think a lot of people don't see it coming, and we're all feeling it. So, and we got Jasmine. So, Jasmine, she's new to the team, but she's like the heart and soul of the team. Like, she comes in, she has the best attitude. When they run, she's ready to go constantly. She's been very hungry to learn the game. She's here at practice. She's coming along really good. And I think I got one more.
Speaking of new players,
Speaking
that takes us to our next question.
Well, I've got one more senior.
Oh,
It's
go
Sky
ahead.
Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Sky Brown. She is a scoring machine. Like, you look one
I can
direction,
agree with
and
you on that.
she is gone around you, and she is driving to the goal, and you better not leave her outside either.
And that was
Because
a player
she's
that
gonna
they
drain
didn't
it.
have last year.
That's a player that they didn't have last year that came to us this year, and she has been a game changer. It's allowed us to change a lot of the strategy that we're going to use going into the first part of the season.
Yeah, speaking of that, your numbers were very low last year for this Lady Cavs team. We hear that the numbers have shot up tremendously, adding all these new players. How have you been able to get these numbers out, and how do these numbers affect the outcome of this upcoming season?
Well, getting them out, that's a good question. I have a couple takes on that. One is I'm fortunate enough to work at the school.
Yep.
So it's easy for me to develop relationships with all the students
In the
here.
classroom.
In the classroom,
Yep.
yes. And you know, if I see somebody and I know they're athletic, if they play other sports or whatever, you know, I'm constantly in the hallway. Why don't you come out for basketball? Why don't you come out do this? I don't know basketball, coach. And they're like, well, that's what a coach is supposed to do, is teach you the game.
There's room to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So having the numbers, I think, is more of, I've worked it. You know, I've got out there. I've been in the middle schoolers' ears. I've been freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I'm like, hey, come out and play basketball.
You about have to with a small school like this. You got to talk to the kids and build that relationship with them in the classroom so you can get them out on the ball court for you. And when you develop that relationship with them, it gets even stronger when they're out there on the court for you, outside of school, because then you become a family. And they have to, I like that.
I will tell you, though, although, you know, the numbers are a lot better this year, we did start out with a lot more than what we have currently, you know, going into it. I mean, our group is solidified now, but, you know, we had a few that, you know, during the conditioning week or a couple weeks of conditioning, that, like I said, we run a lot.
Well, with that being said, hearing that we run a lot, you'll want to stick with us. We've got a few more questions for Coach here, but we are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with you in a second.
This is Bruce Walters from Bruce Walters Kia. By now, you know Kia's vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Online at brucewalterskia.com.
If you've recently had a loved one pass, bring them to Hall & Jones Funeral Home in Burgee, Kentucky. We let you grieve in peace instead of worrying about a heavy financial burden of burying a loved one. Here at Hall & Jones, we have multiple chapels that can accommodate any size family. We look forward to helping you and your family here at Hall & Jones.
MGC Supply is your complete source for drainage and erosion control products. MGC Supply also sells services and installs Cummings generators. MGC Supply sells and delivers limestone gravel for businesses and homeowners. MGC Supply is your solution supplier and is proud to sponsor all the teams in Eastern Kentucky. 2590 U.S. Highway 23 South Pottville, Kentucky, 41501. Give them a call today at 606-433-0077. Or you can call 794-6765.
Welcome back. Listen, this has to be the greatest show of all time. I mean, this has to be First Take worthy. ESPN, call us. We're ready, okay? I know we've got our consistent viewers here. Listen, guys, you guys at home have been great, right? Our first show was 3.6K views. Last week was almost 5,000 views. Like, you guys at home are great. We appreciate all the support, and we hope you continue to tune in. With that being said, I've got some more tricky questions for this guy sitting to my right here. Okay, we're going to put him on the spot. And I forgot to do this, but I'm your host, Ethan Cummings, co-host Sam Collier, special guest, new Lady Cavaliers coach Paul Whitaker, if you're just tuning in. Coach, you know, a lot of times we see teams open up with a game that they expect to win, right? And they expect to come in. I noticed on your schedule, you're opening up with a very competitive team. You know, so take us through your expectations for this first game with Johnson Central.
Absolutely. If you look at our schedule, we have a very competitive schedule this year.
Yes, most definitely.
You know, Johnson Central, I hear both ways. They're going to be really good. All this, you know, they are. They're really good. But how can I judge how good we are right off the bat if I play somebody that we can just roll? You know, sure. And I know in high school basketball anything can go. Yep. You know, you're not expected to just roll anybody, but we do. You know, we know that we're going to have an easier time with some games than others. Yeah, I look forward to Johnson Central. I welcome the challenge, and we've got it at home too. We're doing this
home opener.
in front of our home crowd, so I fully expect us to come out of that locker room fired up. I want to see my players stay motivated, stay hungry throughout the game, and at the end of that game, I think everybody's going to be surprised when we're right there in it.
Yeah, most definitely. There's some other things to look at too.
Coming into this season, like we was just talking about, you're bringing back in Alexis Ritchie.
Yeah.
She averaged 13 points and 9 rebounds a game last year. You also bring back in Cadence Firth, your point guard. You just spoke about her. Really good words on her, saying she's going to be a leader, and she stepped up to the task. She was also very good with free throw percentage, 71%, three-point percentage at 30%. How big of a leadership role will these two girls play this season, and how do you plan to utilize them within your system?
Well, you're going to see those numbers for them go up.
Okay.
I'll be honest
All
with
right.
you right now.
I like to hear that.
Katie's free throw numbers are definitely going to go up. We
Great.
work on free throws a lot.
Free throws win ball games.
It sure does. They sure do. Katie and Richie both, the team feeds off of them.
Right.
And if they're really busting their butt, everybody else does too. Mm-hmm. So we're really I'm looking forward to seeing them, that dynamic on the floor, those work with each other, because everybody else starts to really pick it up
Right.
too. Now Katie, she's a playmaker.
Yep.
She is a playmaker. She went to the line a lot last year because she dribble drives.
Right.
She takes those shots in the lane and she gets fouled doing it. Well, she's doing that again this year. Only right now, I've got 5 ladies on the floor that are explosive.
That's awesome.
Any given night, all 5 are capable of those numbers. And it's really going to change the way that we're able to play this year. It's really going to change the way that we're able to look at each game, how we approach in preparation. So, I'm excited for both of their leadership. But, as you said earlier, I've got 5 seniors on the team.
You do.
I'm going to have 4 seniors on the floor at any given time, maybe all 5 at the same time. So I expect them all to be leaders. I expect them all to be there. I expect them all to play their part to get us to the W. At the end of the night, it doesn't matter really how many points any particular person has. All that matters is that W.
Yeah, and we're speaking on them. Me and Ethan has actually had the luxury of watching these girls grow up in a Jenkins Cavaliers uniform since the 6th grade.
Yeah.
And to see the ball players that they are now, watching your practices before we have ours, they really have developed into some nice young ladies and very good ball players, And like you said, I think that they're going to be leading your team, and I think they're going to do big things for the Lady Cavaliers this season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you feel about your district with Collier, Jim Buchanan, LCC, Knott County? You're coming back into the 14th. Tell me a little bit about these teams.
So, talking about coming back to the 14th and reigniting those rivalries that we had, the Neon, Whitesburg, Letcher, Jenkins rivalry of the past is kind of gone.
Yeah.
But now you got the Jenkins, LCC, Knott Central, Jim Buchanan, Collier rivalry that's firing up. And, I look forward to really throwing gas on that fire.
Okay.
This year we're going after LCC. They're right down the road. We're not going to be
8
little
miles
sister.
away.
We're not going to be little sister anymore. This is a competitive program, and we're here to compete.
Yep.
So I really I look forward to meeting the teams that look over Jenkins this year. I look forward to seeing them on the floor and showing them, okay, you better not look over our team anymore. You're going to have to prep. And going into this district, I think that we're extremely competitive.
Yep.
I think we're right there at the end of the year, district championship.
Okay.
And we're going to be fighting for it every minute of the game.
Okay.
Well, and that's good to hear. That plays along with this next question too, right? I remember when I was a freshman, Whitney Creech was a senior.
Yep.
I was at LCC. I transferred here my sophomore year to Jenkins. I graduated from Jenkins, but my freshman year I was at LCC. I remember coming to watch a Whitney Creech game, and it was, if you didn't get here at 5 o'clock,
you wouldn't get a seat.
Yeah,
it was not
standing
happening.
room only. and I know she's one of a kind, and it's hard to fit as a coach here now.
Right.
It's hard to fill a gym that way. But in the past few years, there's not been much community support around this program. You've not seen a lot of, and which I know it's with girls programs everywhere. Not a lot of people go to watch
Right.
girls basketball, but here it's just we're a small community. So how do you plan to get that community support back? And with saying that, also, like, what's your coaching philosophy going to be like?
Well, I'll start with getting more people in the seats, and then we'll go into the coaching philosophy after that. It starts with a lot of legwork. It starts ground level, and it's what we do here right now. I mean, the athletic program as a whole has been on one mission to get more people in the school.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'll use last night as an example, our Halloween Havoc. The more community events that we have in the gym, at the school, it lets everybody outside the school know, hey, Jenkins is here. I got something to do tonight. There's a ball game tonight. The school's done a wonderful job at announcing this stuff. Social media, they got the Jumbotron out here as you come down the hill. That's letting the community know. But, part of that, too, as a program specific for girls program, is we've got to get out in the community. We've got to establish relationships, make contacts within the community to where they want to come, where they want to come support us. If they know you, if they really truly know you, then you can say, hey, I got a ball game tonight.
Right.
Why don't you come? That's one of the biggest things, I think. It's just getting out there, getting the word out there. As far as coaching philosophy goes, I've worked with you with the middle school program. I've coached baseball here. I've coached golf. I coach golf here, high school golf. Anybody that's played for me, anybody that knows me really hasn't played for me, even thought about playing. I am a very family-centric coach. I have 3 kids. I have 3 kids in the school system. I'm completely invested in the school district, in the athletic program, because I want to see it succeed. I want to see it good not only for my kids, but maybe their kids too. I want to see them be able to come to Jenkins. So my coaching philosophy revolves around just the betterment of everybody as a whole. And part of that, the biggest part of that, is that family-centric idea. When they walk through those gym doors, this is your sister. This is, these are your brothers. These are your sisters. Because if they really, truly embrace that, then they're willing to take that extra step, go that extra mile to support each other. And when you have that support here, it makes them want to play harder for you. It makes them want to be here. It makes them, I couldn't tell you how many times I come into school now in the morning, and I'm sitting in my classroom waiting for first bell, and not only the girls basketball team, but the guys that's played for me in the past, they come by my room. Hey, coach. Good morning, coach. Good morning, coach. How was your day? Or how was your evening? That's what I love. I love that. Having that type of dialogue with the kids, knowing that they care when you tell them, hey, are you okay? Or hey, how's it going? That's what keeps them coming back. They want to know they're cared for. I do care about them, and it's nice when they show that in return.
Absolutely. Speaking on your program, we've talked about your players. We've talked about moving back into the 14th region. Let's talk about what you would consider to be a successful season for this year for your Lady Cavs.
I think I've already answered that one.
Yeah.
We're going after it. A successful season is at least a region berth. I care about winning all the season games that we can. 20-plus wins, I'd be happy with that this year. But truly, those big wins, those big teams, my district games, I want to see us do really well in district.
Yep.
Get a really good seeding when it comes up to the district tournament and compete. If we're there in that championship game, that's a successful season.
Most definitely. There is always, I like to do this, there's always one question that don't relate to your program that I like to ask the coach.
Oh, no.
So I try to change that every week just to keep it
Putting him on the
interesting.
spot.
Putting him on the spot here, This year, coming into this season for all basketball, from middle school to high school, there's been a rule change. It's concerning the fouls, and the way it used to work is you keep fouls for every half. 6 fouls was 1 and 1. 10 fouls was double for the rest of that half. This year it's 5 fouls to a double bonus for each quarter, and it resets each quarter. So what that does is it gets rid of the bonus. Talk a little bit about that rule change. What's your standpoint on it, and how do you think it'll affect not just your team but all programs in the state of Kentucky this season?
I think games are going to start coming down to free throws, especially the close ones. I mean, literally, it's going to come down to who can make free throws and who can't. And that's changed a lot of the way that I format our practices. I mean, we're on the free throw line a lot, getting ready for that change. We come in early in the morning before school starts. Guess what? On the
We're out
free throw
here
line,
good.
doing free throws.
That's good.
So I really think that the change it's going to change a little bit of the dynamic of the game. It's got to change your strategy too. Whether you're fouling to get the ball back late in the game or what, or you're looking to see how many fouls you got and be like, okay, foul quick to get to 6. But I look forward to the change to see how it goes. Now, I have seen that change already in practice in middle school ball, and feel. I think I was talking to you a little bit earlier today. I feel like because of the time or the amount of time that they play quarters, it doesn't affect much except takes the bonus out of the picture.
Yep.
It kind of takes it out because they don't get it at the end of the half. So that if I were one of the top dogs, I think I'd be looking at it a little different when it came to middle school ball.
I like the rule. I do. It's a change. It's definitely harder on your bookkeepers, but I like it. Like you said, we witnessed it Thursday night. We had our first middle school game here of the season, and to be honest with you, I thought it was really hard to get to 5 1/4.
Yeah.
In some games it's not going to be hard. I think it's going to depend on who's officiating the game. But if you got some refs out there that let some stuff go, it's hard to get to that 5.
It is.
So you're really. Some games it's going to take away your chance of winning from a free throw,
right.
So you can see it both ways, but I like it, it's something different. The one thing I hope that they don't ever resort to is the shot clock. I don't want to see a shot clock in high school or middle school basketball just because you're still learning, and that's something for college and for pros.
Right.
I don't want to see, I know that's been brought up, but I don't want to see that.
Yeah, some states are already on the shot.
Yes, they're already doing it.
Yes.
So with that being said, Coach Whitaker, we appreciate you being here. We do, and we wish the Lady Cavaliers nothing but the best this season, and we hope to have you on again in the future. If I haven't disclosed and ran you off to where you don't want to come back.
No, I'll be back.
For those of you at home don't know, I see this man more than I see my wife.
I got one thing before you let me go, Coach.
Okay.
I'd probably get in trouble if I don't at least mention it, but I want to give a shout out to Kimber Collins. Yesterday they had their opening archery competition, the Green Arrow. She shoots a 295, takes
5 off
overall
of perfect.
winner. And then I also have to mention my daughter. She shot a 278, won the elementary division in her opener, and I believe our boys division. I don't know his score. But he won too. Ian Hall won elementary boys. So I have to shout out to him because we're all, it's the athletic program.
What a dad moment. It really is. Sammy's going to be so upset.
Well, Sammy, I brag on Sammy all the time.
You haven't mentioned Sammy the first time this show, and you mentioned
Emily.
Sammy, I would be upset too. That's exactly what
seen
I would say. I would
y'all
go home. I
haven't
wouldn't
seen
even
it.
talk to this man the rest of the night. I'm telling you right now, that's what I would do.
If you haven't seen it, my son was interviewed by D&D, 2 days ago?
You don't get the privilege to talk about him now. Because
You talk about it.
Yeah,
He knows I talk about him all the time.
Oh, guys, no, it's been fun. It's always good having my good friend, Coach Paul Whitaker, here with us, man. And we're going to have him on for a show in the future, probably mid-season, to see how these Lady Cavs are actually shaping up. So we're excited for that, excited to have you back on, Coach, and we wish you nothing but the best. I'm your host, Ethan Cummings, co-host Sam Collier, special guest, Coach Paul Whitaker. We will be back with you in just a second.
Don't let just anyone take care of your pharmaceutical needs. Call Jay's Pharmacy in Jenkins, Kentucky. Jay's Pharmacy has been a staple in the Jenkins community for many years, formerly known as Boggs Pharmacy. Jay's Pharmacy is in it for you. They'll make sure your trips to the pharmacy is easy and smooth. They'll fight the insurance companies for you and give you great prices on your medication. Call Jay's Pharmacy today in Jenkins, Kentucky. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be, for generations to come.
Let the folks at Double Quick help you start your 2022 off right. They've brought back the Bourbon Pecan Coffee for a limited time only. You can also quench your thirst with the great deals on fountain drinks they offer daily. Double Quick is your one-stop shop for everything. They offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can stop by one of their many storefront locations in Eastern Kentucky. Stop by and let Double Quick make your day better.
This is Bruce Walters from Bruce Walters Kia. By now you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the Kia Sorento, only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville, or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
If you've recently had a loved one pass, bring them to Hall & Jones Funeral Home in Burgee, Kentucky. We let you grieve in peace instead of worrying about a heavy financial burden of burying a loved one. Here at Hall & Jones, we have multiple chapels that can accommodate any size family. We look forward to helping you and your family here at Hall & Jones.
MGC Supply is your complete source for drainage and erosion control products. MGC Supply also sells services and installs Cummings generators. MGC Supply sells and delivers limestone gravel for businesses and homeowners. MGC Supply is your solution supplier and is proud to sponsor all the teams in Eastern Kentucky. 2590 U.S. Highway 23 South Pottville, Kentucky, 41501. Give them a call today at 606-433-07. Or you can call them at 606-467-65.
Okay, guys, welcome back. You notice I'm not screaming this time because I have to call out my buddy Kyle Maggard. He has started this trend last week of uninvited guests on this show. People are just showing up to be on this show now. Like, I know we're getting popular, but like, this is insane. We've got, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't 50 people out there lined up, guys. We only have 2 hours right now, okay? 2 hours. Quit, Kyle, I'm blaming you. Kyle Maggard. No, we've got Big E, 53, playing for the Cougs, almost caught a pass as a center Friday night. Too bad he dropped it. Nice hands, feet. No, but before we dive into Big E, I'm glad he's here. I'm glad we can talk to him. For those of you at home, most of you probably know he is my little brother, but he is going to get some hard questions here in a second. But first, Sammy, why don't you take us through your top 5 real quick, man?
Yeah, so at number 5, I'm going to have my Shelby Valley Wildcats. They're 7-3 on the season. Russ Osborne showing what a true leader is for his team. He's playing both sides of the ball. He's getting the job done. And here's a crazy stat for y'all. In the past 4 games that Valley has played, their last 4 games of this season, they have scored 48, 60, 58, and 70. I mean, these are basketball scores right here. I mean, this looks like it's a basketball game when they play. Their offense is just on point right now. So, yeah, I've got the Shelby Valley Wildcats at number 5. At number 4, I've got Raceland. They're arguably one of the best teams in the state. They've had a very tough schedule. They're 7-3 on the season. They lost to a very good Lexington Christian team last week, but I'm not going to count them out just because of that. Raceland is at my 4 spot. At number 3, I've got the Belfry Pirates. I mean, like
this guy can tell us about Belfry.
He can tell us all about Belfry.
He tells all
That's
about
right.
Friday
I mean,
night.
you know, they're 7-3 on the season, and no offense to you, Evan, but you know, I kind of knew that they was going to come in and put the work in on y'all for their last season, you know, or their last game of the season. Their run attack is just phenomenal. I mean, they're going to run it down your throat every single time. They've been that way. They're going to stay that way. That's just how the Belfry Pirates roll. Their clock management is very good. They know how to manage the clock, see what the time is on the scoreboard. They know what they're doing. And speaking on their running attack, they've got 2,769 rushing yards this season. I mean, that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal for a high school team. So, yeah, at number 3, I've got my Belfry Pirates in there. They're going to be doing good in the playoffs, I assume. Number 2, you got Pikeville. You got the Pikeville Panthers. I mean, again, another team that's going to look for a state title again this season. They're 7-2 on the season. They've, you know, not had the luxury of having a full season because teams won't play them. But, yeah, their defense is just a nightmare. You know that whenever Pikeville shows up that you're not going to be able to score like you're used to doing. Their defense is phenomenal. So, yeah, I've got Pikeville at number 2. And at number 1, I've got Ashland. They're 9-1 on the season. And, again, you know, they're another one of the – they could arguably be the best team in the state with the way that they've been playing this season. And, you know, they've got a good receiving core from what I understand. They've got 19 receiving touchdowns combined throughout all their receivers and backs on the season. But they got an even better run game with a powerhouse running back, Braxton Jennings, who has 704 rushing yards and 19 total touchdowns this season. I mean, that's crazy that he has 19 touchdowns compared to the whole receiving core with 19 touchdowns. This kid is just phenomenal for this team. Ashland's going into this week in the playoffs. I think that they're going to win and they're going to advance. Give me Ashland at my number 1 spot.
You know, man, I like your list. Going into playoffs, I like Ashland, but I would personally probably switch Ashland and Pikeville. But I'm a huge huge Pikeville guy when it comes to football.
Right.
I think Pikeville's just so dominant every year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Evan, anything, you know, any opinions or, you know, thing that you would change about this top 5?
I disagree with both of y'all. My number 1 would be Raceland. Raceland come in, they beat Pikeville at Pikeville.
They did.
And Ashland just lost to a Johnson Central team that Pikeville beat. So, if you know, and then who I'd move in at my 5 spot would be Johnson Central. They're not as good as they have been in the past, but it's still a Johnson Central team that's going to compete in 4A.
Yep.
Now, speaking on your number 3, Belfry. Big E, why don't you talk a little bit about that game? You got to play Belfry, you know, and you can also speak on the Cougars and their season thus far this season. You know, just speak a little about everything you all have had to overcome and about this Belfry game that happened Friday night.
Well, Belfry, you're playing Philip Haywood. You got to be ready.
Yep.
They're going to be physical. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to come out with some tricks too. He's been around the game too long. We come in. I feel like we had a good scheme, but we just couldn't execute everything together and put up points and stop them as much as we needed to. And that's a hard offense to stop. We faced it against Johnson Central, but I still think this team is better at running the ball than Johnson Central has been.
I believe this team is one of the best running teams in the state.
That number 11 kid, he's a great athlete. Number 5, he's a great athlete. Now, talking about our season, we've had our ups and downs. You know, we lost Gunnar Holbrook, Tripp Stamper. Quentin Williams been hurt. He's been playing, but he's not been 100%. So them 3 key injuries is we've got guys moved around. We're trying to figure out our QB. We're trying to figure out who to get the ball to make plays. The defense side of the ball, everything stayed the same. You've had a few switches here, you know, and I would say we got one of the best DBs you're going to find at his size, Gavin Ramsey.
Yep.
If you watch the Perry Central game, I mean, you know, that's a 6'1", 6'2" kid coming in. He's a lockdown. So we've had our ups, we had our downs. Hopefully we can go into Taylor County this week and get a win.
Well, we're going to get to Taylor County in a second, but one more quick thing I want to ask you is, I've been wanting to know this. I've talked with a few guys. You know, I've talked with you. I've talked with Dusty back here. If you guys don't know, my man Dusty Fleming is producing for us tonight. I got to give him some love back there. But we've talked about this. Take us through a player's perspective of that Whitley County game when everyone was counting you out. Everyone counted out the Cougs. Everybody thought that. Everybody had at least one thought in their mind, like, oh, okay, they ain't got Gunner, they ain't got Tripp, they ain't, you know, who knows if Q's going to be healthy? Will they go down there after watching Whitley do what they did to Perry? Will they go down there and get this win? Take us through that thought process.
Well, we come in, we just had a tough loss against Perry. We're fired up, we're ready to go. It's always hard traveling 2 hours and going to play in the game. But we come in, we got our offense figured out with the new quarterback, Peyton Combs. We got Dawson Cornick coming in at left tackle. He's getting better, and we're ready to go. Now it is a close game. I will say we should have won that game by at least 2 touchdowns, but it came down. We got the win, and let me tell you guys, long snapping is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
It is.
I come in, we need to tie the game up. We need an extra point. I come in. The first one I done bad snap. Come in. This next one. I'm praying to the Lord above, please don't let me have a bad snap right here. I come in, we execute, we tie the game up. And then at the end of that game, just like we did at Breathitt, 2 minutes.
Yep.
We go down, we score, we leave 1:25 left. Mason Stevens comes up with a huge pick, we end the game off, and we go home with a victory.
And I'm sure that bus ride home was crazy.
I'm sure it was.
Sure that
and, you know, Ethan said that everybody was counting the Cougs out. I did not. I counted them in.
Here we go.
I got
He's
that
always
game.
bragging.
Yes, I got that game right. I knew they was going to come into that game after having that
I don't
huge
even
loss.
need that anymore.
You don't need it because guess what? I'm going to win the Pick'em segment at the end of this show.
He's ridiculous.
It
I'm
doesn't
sorry
matter.
you guys have to watch this. I'm so sorry that you have to watch this. No, stay tuned with us real quick. We're going to take a short break. Big E's going to stay here. I'm your host, Ethan Cummings, co-host Sam Collier will be back with you in just a second. Stay with us and tell your friends to tune in with you.
Don't let just anyone take care of your pharmaceutical needs. Call Jay's Pharmacy in Jenkins, Kentucky. Jay's Pharmacy has been a staple in the Jenkins community for many years, formerly known as Boggs Pharmacy. Jay's Pharmacy is in it for you. They'll make sure your trips to the pharmacy is easy and smooth. They'll fight the insurance companies for you and give you great prices on your medication. Call Jay's Pharmacy today in Jenkins, Kentucky. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
Let the folks at Double Quick help you start your 2022 off right. They've brought back the Bourbon Pecan Coffee for a limited time only. You can also quench your thirst with the great deals on fountain drinks they offer daily. Double Quick is your one-stop shop for everything. They offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can stop by one of their many storefront locations spread throughout eastern Kentucky. Stop by and let Double Quick make your day better.
This is Bruce Walters from Bruce Walters Kia. By now you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
Mom said take it easy on each other. Oh, welcome back. What a blooper, right? Because somebody please clip that because I was not ready. I'm your host, Ethan Cummings, co-host Sam Collier, and an uninvited special guest, Big E. We're here with you. Listen, guys, we are not even 2 days. I'm really like a day away from Halloween. Ooh. I felt a wind. I felt like a chill. But anyways, we're going to play a game, and it's called Trick or Treat, NBA edition. We're going to talk some more basketball here. And the way this game works is I'm going to name a team. And when I name that team, you're going to tell me, are they a treat, as in they're going to be good this season, competitive, and go far in the playoffs, or a trick, as in they look good, but they're not going to meet expectations and fall towards the bottom of the barrel. Okay? So starting off, we have the Denver Nuggets, Trick or Treat, and a little explanation of why.
All right, well, the reigning NBA champs, Denver Nuggets, MVP caliber player with Nikola Jokic. They bring back their core. They're a treat, man. I mean, you know, they're going to win. They're going to be a top team in the West, and the West is one of the harder conferences to play in. So, yeah, that's a treat.
Trick or treat?
I'm going to have to go treat as well. Joker. I think that's all I need to say with that one. Best
All
player
you
in
got
the
to
NBA.
say. I can agree with you on that.
Well, I'm going to have to be the one that disagrees. I think they're a trick. Listen, we see this all the time. I think the Denver Nuggets is a trick. Dusty's looking at me like I'm crazy. It's okay. But they're coming off. You see this happen a lot of times. You've seen it with the Bucks last year, and you see it with teams all the time. The Lakers the year before. You win an NBA championship, then you come back in the next season, and every team has you figured out, right? And so I think that they won last year. They're going to fall at the bottom of the barrel. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be beat out probably in the first or second round. So I think that they're a trick. Moving on, the Milwaukee Bucks, trick or treat?
I'm going to have to go treat again with this team. I mean, we've seen it from the first game of the season. Damian Lillard comes in, new addition, and I think he scored the most points by, a first game on a new team with 39. I mean, this is just such a dynamic duo right there, adding Dame with Giannis, which is arguably a top 3 player in the league as well, with Jokic. This team is going to be a treat this season, and I think they're going to stay atop of the Eastern Conference standings.
I'm going to have to go with treat as well. This is probably one of the best duos we'll see in the league.
Yep.
They got defense, Jay Crowder, Giannis.
I mean, their roster is really stacked.
It's going to be hard to stop both of them guys coming in to the season.
I'm in the middle on this one. I'm going to say trick, and here's why, right? It's because of this trade that they made with Damian Lillard. I feel like you traded a lot of depth and a lot of defense for offense. And in the NBA, we see teams all the time in the regular season that are really good from an offensive standpoint, right? They can score a lot. But here's the other part. When you get to the playoffs, you got to be able to stop the other team from scoring, because although Damian Lillard's great, Giannis is great, but there's a lot of great players in the league that can score the way that they score, that can do the things that they do. So I think with this trade, although you got the superstar in Damian Lillard, I think that the Milwaukee Bucks got worse with this trade. I truly believe that.
Wow.
So I had
that's a hard take right there.
That is a hard take.
That's a hard take.
Next, trick or treat, Boston Celtics.
Daggone. This is another team that I'm a Miami Heat fan. And, after going into this championship against the Nuggets and seeing that happen, my heart's already hurt. We've been to 2 championships and we can't execute. But now it's like the East is just stacking up these teams. You got the Bucks and you got the Celtics and you've got the Cavs and you've got these younger cores like the Detroit Pistons that are on the rise. And it's just like, man, where's the Heat going to stand? But no, the Celtics they're a treat. You know, they add Drew Holiday. Like, you know, you said that the Bucks lost a lot of defense. Well, the Celtics gained it, and they've got Derek White as their bench role point guard who also can play defense, and he's a very good shot blocking guard. And then you've got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and I mean Kristaps Porzingis. He comes in and, like, again, balls out for him his first few games, and it's like, wow, where was he at when he was at Dallas and the Wizards and all these other teams he's played for? It's like, man, where was this? You know, so yeah, I think the Celtics are definitely a treat.
I'm gonna have to go trick on this. You know, we see them year in and year out. They come into the playoffs, they're hot.
Yep.
And then they don't do nothing in the playoffs. They style. You know, they'll get to the conference finals, and then at that point, you lose to a Heat team that is honestly not the best. That's why they don't win the championship.
Right.
You come in, so they have the team, but they don't execute. That's my take on it.
Well, you know, here's my thing, is I'm going to have to agree with Sammy on this one. I think they're a treat. I think they have been the last couple Eastern Conference finals.
They have been treats.
And they have been treats. I think
Yes.
this is the year they turn to a treat team. I do. And I think that they win the Eastern Conference this year. I really do. I believe that they've got the numbers. See, the NBA is all about depth, right? Because you've got those star power players in your starting lineup, but you need somebody to give them a break, especially whenever they take a night off, because you see that often, you know. So I'm going to say they're a treat with Sammy. Moving on, you mentioned them before, really quick, the Miami Heat, trick or treat.
As much as I hate to say this, I think that they're going to be a trick this season because, you know, we didn't necessarily add anybody in the offseason. They did not add nobody. You know, they've got a lot.
Actually.
We lost players and Gabe Vincent to the Lakers, which was, you know, heartbreaking and ridiculous. But we lose Max Strus to the Cavaliers, who is now starting for them, you know, and he was a very, very solid player for the Heat, and he picked up a lot of slack from the other players whenever he was on the court. We got a lot of two-way players, if that means anything. We got some two-way players, some G League players that we can pull up if needed, but I don't see us going past the second round this season. We got to add some more depth to our squad, like you said. We don't have that true big man. I don't feel like Bam Adebayo should be playing the center position. Personally, I just don't think he is big enough, as in height-wise, because he's going up against these 7-footers and he's 7'2" and all this stuff. And he needs to be utilized more as a stretch 4 type player that can have the ball in his hands and make plays happen, instead of having to be that guy that has to shut down a center and be more defensive minded than his offense, because that really played a game in the championship for us, with him having to more so worry about not letting Jokic score and him not being able to, you know, because he had to be more defensive minded. So yeah, I think this team is just going to be a trick this season, and that's my team, so that's my take.
This is easy for me. It's a trick. I don't like the Heat. They're not going to make it far.
I think they're a trick myself too. Moving on, we're gonna go really quickly with these last few teams. Los Angeles Lakers, trick or treat.
I'm gonna say that the Lakers had the best offseason by far of any team. They added exactly what they said they needed, but you've got LeBron James on your team, so you're gonna get what you want anyways. That's just how it works. Every year, LeBron gets what he wants. Okay, I like LeBron James, but I hate that he is pretty much the manager everywhere he goes. But anyways, I'm going to say that this team is going to be a trick. They look good on paper. They've got what they wanted, but I don't feel like they're going to execute. They're not going to be able to perform well in this Western Conference, especially with the Denver Nuggets being so high up there. I just don't see them beating them in the playoffs. So I think that the Lakers, they'll exit the first round.
They're a trick for me too. LeBron is my favorite player, but I have to see them. They got to prove to me before I can put them as a treat.
This is where the boat stops, guys. I think that they are a treat, right?
Yeah, because this is the
I'm a
biggest
huge
LeBron fan you will ever meet.
I'm a huge LeBron guy. But with that being said, you know, I think this is going to be the first year in a while that you see a Lakers and Boston finals.
Wow.
A
What
Lakers
take.
and Celtics finals. How long has it been since we've seen that? And I think that's what's going to
09?
happen this year. You know,
09.
I think that's going to happen this year. And I'm going to personally say that the Lakers win it, but there's a chance that Boston can. It's going to be a very competitive series. But I take them. They've got the depth. They got AD. They picked up Christian Wood for nothing. I mean, like, this is Christian Wood's a guy that 2 years ago we were talking about him like he was going to be the next big thing. I mean, he got that big contract in Dallas. He played really good in Houston. I mean, this is a guy that they stole.
They
So
re-signed Jared Vanderbilt.
They
re-signed Rui.
Most definitely.
They get my guard.
Most definitely. It's my turn, Sammy. But no, I take a treat. I take treat for the Lakers. I think they're going to meet expectations. Last NBA team, Phoenix Suns.
Let me take this one.
You go ahead. Go first.
I want to say this is going to be the biggest trick we've seen this season.
Agreed.
This team has no defense. You can put points up, but they can not stop anybody. DeAndre Ayton was a core piece of that team. They lose defense. Jay Crowder, they lose him. They're coming in. I think this team doesn't make it no farther than the first or second round.
I'm gonna have to agree with Big E on this. This team is a trick. This takes me back to when Brooklyn had KD and Kyrie and James Harden. It just went to show that there was so much star power on that team that it couldn't make them winners because everybody's got to have the ball in their hands. So you bring in Bill, and then you've got Devin Booker, and then you've got Kevin Durant. I just don't see them being the team that everybody expects them to be with such a good team.
Most definitely. And it goes to say, too, like with most of the coaches, there's only one basketball.
Right. There's only one
if there was
basketball.
3 or 4, maybe it might work, KD. I mean, hey, it might work.
Yeah.
But there's only one, so I'm with you guys. I think it's a treat, too.
Trick.
Trick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misspoke there. I think it's a trick, too. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and end this segment with one question, right? They've started a new in-season NBA tournament. And for those of you that like the NBA and watch it, if I have this right, me and you was talking about it last night, that by random draw, they've divided them up into groups.
Yes.
They'll play each other in the 2 games within that group, and whoever the top 8 teams out of each group, the top 6 and 2 wild cards of each conference will move to the single elimination games.
Yep.
And then from then on, it's single elimination to the championship, and every game will count towards the regular season record except for the championship game, and whoever wins will be presented the new first time ever NBA Cup. So with that being said, predict who's going to win that in-season tournament, the first ever one, and who will win the postseason really quickly.
Well, considering that all teams are in this kind of like brings me a March Madness type of vibe, you know. It's whoever wants it, really, you know, and I don't think that the teams that are going to be competing for the NBA championship later on in April, I don't think that they're necessarily going to be too worried about this. So I feel like it's going to be a team that wants to show that they're going to be good within the next few years, that really wants to take it. I don't know who I would take. I would probably put out the Toronto Raptors. Look good in the East right now. They're young. They've got a lot to prove. They've got a good roster. They've got a new head coach. The Raptors look good for the East for me with this in-season tournament because, like I said, I don't think that these top teams are really too worried about it.
Yeah.
But give me the Raptors from the East, and, you know, if I'm going to say a West team, I think that Dallas, you know, I feel like a lot of people are counting them out because they bring Kyrie Irving back and they don't really add too many pieces with them. They bring back their roster from last year and they lose Christian. Well, yeah, he was on there.
Yeah, he was on there. They lost Christian Wood.
They lose Christian
out.
Wood, right. And, you know, I think that they're going to come in and they're going to try to prove a point to everybody that, hey, you know, we're still here. And by the way, they own the Phoenix Suns. let's just say that right now. Luka owns Devin Booker
So
right
you've
now.
got the Raptors winning the in-season tournament.
I would say that it would be between them two. I can't necessarily say what team that I would.
Okay, who do you got winning the NBA championship at the end of the season?
The NBA championship
Just
at
one
the end
team.
of the
Who you
season.
got winning?
I'm gonna go with the repeat team. I'm gonna say that the Denver Nuggets make it back, and they take it.
In-season, postseason winners. Who you got? A little explanation on why.
Give me the Golden State Warriors for the in-season tournament.
Okay.
Okay.
I
We like
think
that.
everybody's doubting them. They bring in CP3. They don't have a big, so that's going to be where they prove they're still the team that can compete and
Right.
play. So I got them win the in-season. And the championship, I'm going to say give me the Bucks here.
Okay.
I think they got a well-rounded team. They come in, Giannis, Dame, they both can play. They got defense, I believe. Y'all don't, but I think they have
think that they
defense.
do have defense with Bobby Portis and Jay Crowder, like you said, and I think that they've got a really good defensive team.
Give me the Bucks to win the championship.
For me, in season, man, it's tough. I'm gonna say the Clippers.
Wow.
The Clippers have been itching to win,
Wow,
you
I
know,
like
and
that
they've
pick.
still got PG-13 and Kawhi Leonard. That's
Russell
still doing
Westbrook,
their thing.
who
And Russell
wasted
Westbrook.
years at the Lakers.
And I think they're going to gun for this. You know, they haven't won to give them that little extra boost for postseason. So give
I
me
like
the Clippers there, and I'm going to stick with LA for postseason. Give me the Lakers in the championship. I think it's going to be a Boston-LA
Hey, it's
game.
a LA
and
shootout, y'all.
I think the Lakers win it, man. We're keeping it in Los Angeles, both trophies this year.
Okay.
Guys, I appreciate this segment. It was just a fun game that we wanted to play. We're going to take one short break, our last break. Stay with us. You won't want to miss the next segment. We have Pick'em, but it's a special edition, playoff edition. Teams are coming in hot, and we've got Big E here to help us predict the games. We'll see you in a minute.
If you've recently had a loved one pass, bring them to Hall and Jones Funeral Home in Virgie. We let you grieve in peace instead of worrying about a heavy financial burden of burying a loved one. Here at Hall and Jones, we have multiple chapels that can accommodate any size family. We look forward to helping you and your family here at Hall and Jones. Don't let just anyone take care of your pharmaceutical needs. Call Jay's Pharmacy in Jenkins, Kentucky. Jay's Pharmacy has been a staple in the Jenkins community for many years, formerly known as Boggs Pharmacy. Jay's Pharmacy is in it for you. They'll make sure your trips to the pharmacy is easy and smooth. They'll fight the insurance companies for you and give you great prices on your medication. Call Jay's Pharmacy today in Jenkins, Kentucky. We look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back. Last segment, guys. We've went from technical difficulties to a invited guest to a not so invited guest. We already go back and rewind the show. I'm not going through how this tradition started again. I'm not doing it. I refuse to, Kyle Maggard. But anyways, here we are. It's playoff time in Kentucky. It's football playoffs. Everybody's going to be tuning in. Everybody's going to be predicting these games. You've got refs going here, fans going there. It's crazy. They're even playing some games on Thursdays this year. It is insane. It's just a big deal in Kentucky. So we've got a special edition Pick'em. As you know, every week, me, my co-host Sammy, and we always have a special guest sit in to help us pick the games. I promise you, this is going to be the week that I catch up and take the lead.
Nope.
This is playoff edition. Sorry. First, we've got 1A. 1A football, we've got the Hazard Bulldogs, who is 1-9 on this season at Williamsburg, 5-4. Sammy, who do you got?
I'm taking Williamsburg with this one. Like I said last week, Hazard has had a down year. Their middle school is looking great, but Hazard's high school team, this is a down year for them. And, for a team that's usually used to competing, I'm taking Williamsburg. They need to go ahead and let this season be over with.
Give me Williamsburg as well. This is not Hazard's year.
Yep.
Listen, man, I'll always say this because I love the people over at Hazard. Coach Dan Howard, you're doing a great job. They also, man, I always like to speak on this kid. They've got a phenomenal quarterback that don't get as much credit as he should. Max Pelfrey, dude, you keep doing what you're doing, like you're literally going to go somewhere. I've watched that kid throughout middle school, and Big E can contest to that. He really is a great quarterback. But with that being said, Hazard is having a rough year. I commend Coach Dan Howard for sticking with the team and continuing to work game in, game out, showing up and showing out and giving the most competition that you can. But with me coaching at a small school, some years you have good years, some years you're not so good, and that's just part of coaching at an independent 1A school. So give me Williamsburg too. Next, we've got the Harlan Green Dragons, Harlan Independent at Pikeville. Harlan's 2-8, Pikeville 7-2. Who you got?
Pikeville Panthers. And I don't need no explanation for that. It's Pikeville.
Pikeville, one of the best teams in 1A, really. That's all you can say.
Yeah, it's man, we can't even talk on y'all no more. It's just Pikeville.
Yeah, it's Pikeville. It's
Hell
Pikeville.
All right, next, moving on. We've got Pineville 2-8 at Paintsville 5-5. Who you got?
Listen, I don't know about this one here really, so I'm going to have to take Paintsville, considering the game that they played last week. I think that they're going to come into the playoffs and they're going to take this win.
I got Paintsville as well. Paintsville struggled after their state championship win.
Yeah.
Coming in, but I see them winning this game pretty easily.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Paintsville too. Honestly, I wouldn't have last week if you'd have asked me. After watching Paintsville come back and win 22-14 over Pike Central, I thought that was a big win for them. And getting a big win like that going into playoffs is a morale boost. So I think that Paintsville gets this dub and moves on to the next round. Last 1A game, Berea, who hasn't won a game this season, they're 0-10 at Raceland, who's 7-3. I think I know who everybody has, but who do you got?
Listen, I'm taking Raceland. Like I said earlier, it's arguably one of the best teams in the state, and to be facing against a team that's not even got a win on the season, and I see Raceland coming in here and absolutely dominating this game and advancing.
I'm going to say Raceland, and I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all this because I don't know if I'll be back or not, but Raceland is going to be my 1A state championship.
Oh, wow.
Wow, hot take.
Wow,
hot take. Is this my cot? What? Huh? It's
That's what I'm
flames. Can we get flames, Dusty? Give us some flames,
give us
man.
some flames, man.
Boom, hot take. No, he's shaking his head. No, he's fed up with me tonight. Okay, I'm taking Raceland too, man. I commend Berea. I haven't got to watch them play, but I commend them. They show up and continue and go into the playoffs, and just to try to compete. It's tough. Raceland, Pikeville in 1A. It's tough to be matched up with them in the first round. So, but I do gotta take Raceland. Moving on, we've got 2A. We've got Eastridge, who is 5-5, at Floyd Central, who is also 5-5. Who do you got?
I think this is going to be a good game. You got two teams that have tried to figure out what they need to do to get better, and I feel like coming into the end of the season, both teams kind of figured out what they need to do to advance in the playoffs. Give me Eastridge, man. I think that they're going to go over to Floyd Central and give them a run for their money.
Give me Floyd Central in this game. I've seen a little bit of Floyd, not so much of Eastridge. I've liked what I've seen from Floyd. I think they'll take this game in a close one.
Yeah, I'm with you, Big E. I think Floyd Central takes this. Listen, man, it's no knock on Eastridge, but home field advantage, playoff game. They're going to pack the stands because it's untelling the last time that Floyd Central. I mean, I don't know. I haven't kept up with it, so don't quote me on this. But I would say it's been a while since Floyd Central's hosted a playoff game. So I think Floyd Central takes this one. Next, we've got Knott County 2-8 at Shelby Valley 7-3. Who you got?
Give me Shelby Valley. I just gave a wild stat earlier. If you wasn't listening, just rewind. You can go and see what my top 5 was. You can see how many points that Shelby Valley has scored in their last 4 regular season games. I think they're going to continue to play like they have been, and I think this is going to be a no contest.
It's Valley easily. Not County, I'm glad they're back playing again after the flood and stuff.
Right.
But Valley is going to take this one with ease.
Yeah, man, listen, my buddy Vance Hurley helps coaches over at Knott County, man. Love you, Vance. You guys, I commend you for bringing back football and having another season and competing in the playoffs. But, man, Shelby Valley's quarterback, Russ Osborne, he's a different breed,
he is
man.
amazing.
He really is. I mean, that kid, Valley's going to score 4 out of 5 trips every time.
Every single
and
time.
so
I mean,
I'm taking Shelby Valley 2. Moving on, we've got Prestonsburg 5-5 at Betsy Lane 9-1. Who do you got?
I'm gonna have to take Betsy Lane on this. I feel like a lot of people, again, they said that they haven't had a tough schedule or none of that, but they've proven a lot of the doubters wrong. With a 9-1 season, I feel like they've got a really good running back in Andrew McCutcheon. I think they're gonna come into this game and they're gonna beat Prestonsburg.
I'm going to take Betsy Lane as well, but don't be surprised if Prestonsburg don't come up and put up a close game in this game right here.
Listen, man, in basketball we always say it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yes.
But in football, it's hard to beat a team 2 times. And
get
Betsy Lane has already beat Prestonsburg once this season.
They have.
I know Betsy Lane's at home, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take Prestonsburg on this
Okay.
one. Prestonsburg's coming in. They're coming off a bad loss to Breathitt County that nobody's seen coming. We definitely thought that would be a more competitive game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a little bit of an edge just because the chip on their shoulder going into the game. Give me Prestonsburg. Next, we've got Pike Central 5-5 at Martin County 5-5. One word, who you got?
I've got Martin County.
Who you got?
Pike Central.
I've got Pike Central too. I think Pike Central comes in, man. I think they've struggled the past couple games, but I think they come in and they take care of business and pull off an upset. We've got Bracken County 6-4 at Breathitt County 5-5. Who you got?
Well, listen, I counted Breathitt out last week. They proved me wrong. So I'm going to have to go with Breathitt County this week. I think they're going to get the job done at home, and they're going to come out with a W.
I got Breathitt as well. They're one of the more physical teams you will face in the mountains. We played them, and that's probably the most physical game I've played in my high school career.
Wow.
Yeah, listen, y'all know, give me Bobcats all day, baby. I ain't betting. Football season, I got to bleed blue, for high school at least. Okay, that takes care of our 2A games. Let's move on to 3A. Guys, stay with us. We're almost done. We've got McCoffin County 4-6 at Bell County. You can tell us a little bit about Bell County too. 9-1. Who you got? One word, tell us.
I've got Bell County.
I've got Bell County too, but let me tell you something. That running back at Bell County, Daniel Thomas, he is 3rd in the nation in rushing yards.
Wow.
That kid is legit. They're going to take this one with ease and go very far in 3A.
Yes.
I'm with you, man. Give me Bell County. I want to think that it may be close. I want to think that it may be, maybe for a half.
Right.
I think maybe they keep it close the first half. But give me Bell County too. Moving on, we've got Clay County 7-3 at Belfry 7-3. Who you got? Is there an upset here?
Listen, I don't see an upset happening here. Records, we can compare records all day, but at the end of the day, we're talking about the Belfry Pirates. We're talking about Philip Haywood. We're talking about smashing down your throat, run and pound game. I mean, I don't see a team taking Belfry out in the first round at least. I feel like they're going to prove a point and show why they deserve to be here and shoot for that state title like they want.
After last week, I have to go with Belfry.
Yep.
Yeah, give me Belfry too. They're like man, I always say this. They're like Breathitt. I ain't betting against Philip Haywood. Next, we've got Knox Central 5-5 at Lawrence County 7-3. Who you got? One word.
I'm going to take Lawrence County on this game.
Lawrence County.
Give me Knox Central. I'm
Okay.
taking Knox on the
All right.
road. Okay, last, we've got 3 more games. 4A. I want to save this first one for last. We've got Lincoln County 4-6 at Perry Central 6-4. Who you got?
I'm going to take Perry Central with this game. They've fought and shown that they wanted that number 2 spot, and their team, they had some stuff to work out at the beginning of the season, but I think they're going to come into this game. They're at home. I think they take the dub against Lincoln County.
I'm going to take Lincoln County. We've seen teams put up points against Perry, and I think that's what's going to happen in this matchup.
Okay.
I'm going to take Perry, man. It's been a long time since Perry has hosted a game,
Right.
a playoff game, so I'm going to take them. Moving on, we have Grant County 3-7 at Johnson Central 7-3. Who you got?
Listen,
One
I'm
more.
taking Johnson Central with this one.
Johnson Central.
Yeah, Johnson Central, no brainer. Last game. Save the best for last for Big E here. We've got Letcher Central 5-5 at Taylor County 8-2. Who do you got, Sammy?
Evan, I love you. You are
Go
like
ahead.
you're like a little big brother to me because you're taller, but I'm not messing my pick'ems up and letting him get ahead of me. I'm going. If it weren't for that, I would take LCC, but no, I'm going to take Taylor County with this game. You know, they've had a good season this year, and like you said, LCC's still trying to figure out what to do after losing Gunnar Holbrook to injury and losing Q, not having him 100%. And I think Taylor County takes this one.
You want to go and I'll go last? I'll let you go.
Yeah, man, I'm going to take Letcher Central in this one. I think that although it's tough to figure things out, I think on the road, especially after that loss, you know, they got chip on their shoulder and they're playing for something more. Give me the Cougs on this one.
Okay.
I'm taking them on the road.
Obviously, you know who I'm going with, Lesser Central. And I will tell you, we've only lost one game on the road this season. We've been a better road team than we've been a home team. So we're going to make that 3.5-hour trip down to Taylor County. We're going to come in. We're going to execute. We're going to play how we know how to play. And we're going to take this game and go into Bull County second round.
Give us a score real quick while you're here.
Score
before we go.
prediction.
Okay. Give me Letcher Central 34, Taylor County 20.
Woo! 2
34-20.
touchdowns.
That's a good 2-touchdown game.
2 touchdown
Listen,
game.
We're so sorry once again about the technical difficulties, but I appreciate you guys tuning into this show. We enjoy doing this show, and if you enjoy watching this show, make sure that you hit the like and share button and talk. And if you're a sponsor at home and you need to promote your business, give us a call. Text us on Facebook. We'll help you get commercials on this show in any way that we can. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm your host, Ethan Cummings. This is Sam Collier. Evan Cummings here with us. And you know what? I'm already sick of us. Take us off air.
Woo!